Let me hit you with the hard truth. College coaches might watch 20 or 30 seconds of your highlight video, and they are deciding right then and there if they want to even recruit you. I've been on the field, in the locker room, and behind the scenes. And today I'm showing you what to include in your highlight video to get recruited. Before we dive in, if you want one-on-one help building out your highlight video, reaching out to these college coaches so you can get recruited, get noticed, and develop your skills, click the link down below in the description to apply to work one-on-one with me. All right, step one, you only get one first impression, so we need to make sure that it counts. This is where it's really important to lead with your strongest moments. If you're hitting a home run, we want to include that in the front end of our video and not tag it along at the very end. At the beginning of our clips, this is not where we should be including practice swings or, dead space. This isn't gonna grab the coach's attention. This is also a great time to highlight your best tools first. If you're a good runner, showcase your 60-yard dash time or a home to first. If you're a bopper and you hit a lot of home runs, make sure to include a home run clip, maybe in game of you hitting a home run, or in the cage with TrackMan or Rapsodo with the exit velocities, launch angle, and distance. Another key area is making sure that your highlight video isn't too long, especially in that first impression. I always like to say we want to think about doing things shorter rather than longer. So if you think about if you're going to a nice steakhouse, you would much rather a small fillet where it's nice prime cut of meat, and ultimately from there you're always wanting more after the meal. And that's exactly what we want for these college coaches, to want more about you or your son when watching a highlight video. Same thing applies with like movies, right? If you go to the movie theater and it's like a 3.5 hour long movie, you're gonna be like, that was a little bit too long, and it kind of just, maybe wasn't a good movie. Maybe it was a good movie, but maybe it was just a little bit too long, right? Whereas there might be a really great movie and it's maybe an hour and a half and you're like, oh, that was really good. I enjoyed every second of it and it wasn't too long, and ultimately it was a great move. So same idea with our highlight video. We never want it to be too long, too soon, meaning the first interaction, the first impression with these college coaches, we want to make it very clear. It's a 30-second highlight video. We're gonna chop it up. We're gonna edit it properly so that way you get a good understanding of who we are. All right, next up, what clips should we actually include in our highlight video? So if it's not actually showing our skills, do not include the clip. We always do want to prioritize game film over practice swings, but at the end of the day, if we only have cage work, this is a good opportunity where college coaches can see us move. And at the end of the day, that is all that really truly matters. They want to see what you're made of, how you rotate, what kind of athlete you are, and ultimately, that can be done in a couple of practice swings in the cage. And this is where it's always important to show a variety of what you're made of. If you have some good defensive clips, make sure to include that. If you have a hard hit line drive up the middle where you're digging it down the line, include that. Of course, if you have a home run, definitely include that. And as far as editing style and what to include, text on screen, things like that, this is where you can add some metrics. Let's say you include a clip of you running a 60-yard dash time. It would be smart to include what that verified time was, so that way the coach knows they don't have to stop watching you on that clip. It's ultimately right there for them on the screen. All right, so one thing that I want to do kind of live side by side with you guys is I want to ultimately just showcase not me saying what to include in the highlight video, but actually the head coach of Michigan baseball, I believe his name is Tracy Smith, what he thinks should be included into a highlight video. So what I'm going to do right now, right here on the screen, is basically just walk through this video that I saw the other day that I think was super powerful.
We can see a lot through your film, and don't think you have to have 15 minutes or 10 minutes of game film and things like that. There are specific things we're looking for. I'm going to have the camera kind of be in the position that you should be if you're...
So far, couldn't agree more, because yes, we don't want to include a 10 or 15 minute video as he's saying it right here. Coaches don't have the attention span to watch a kid for 10 or 15 minutes in a full highlight video, so this is where we want to really condense that and include specific areas that these coaches are ultimately looking for.
Going to edit something and send to a college coach or wherever you want to send it. But what we're looking for here is we're looking for fear. And what I mean by that is if you go behind, I can see exactly where he strides on the pitch. If I see a hitter that strides into what we call striding in the bucket, show that again, Joe. Strides in the bucket, that's fear. It may not be conscious, but it's really hard to hit if you have.
So I'm never going to disagree with a college coach, which this is his full-time job, but this isn't necessarily fear. This is just really bad mechanics, right? If a player is stepping into the bucket or pulling off of the ball, yes, that is just bad mechanics. That's probably not going to play at the D1 level where you're facing 90, 95 miles an hour each and every day. But the way that Coach Tracy right here puts it, yes, in a sense it is fear, and ideally you should have no fear when you're facing 80, 85 miles an hour in high school.
So we want to see as that pitch is being made, is he striding and taking a good approach? Just take a few clips from directly behind the plate. Now, if I'm looking at a right-handed hitter, what I want to see is I want to see the path, the swing path, so I need to be chest side of the hitter. So again, you're going to be behind the net. We're as far back right now in our facility, but you can be behind a screen, behind a net.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. Chest side or open side is very important, and especially in my time in pro ball, what we would have is stationary cameras all across the diamond inside the stadium. If you go to a big league stadium, look for these. They kind of look like security cameras. Sometimes they're above the dugout, sometimes they're perfect 90-degree angle. So that way all these clips are uploaded to the cloud basically, and you're able to see open side, chest open to the camera. You can also see technically backside if you really wanted to see that, but usually coaches don't want to see that. Professional scouts don't want to see that, and that's why they are stationary, basically security cameras. They are slow-mo, but that's where we can get the lefties and the righties by getting the open side. So very, very important to include this into our highlight video as well, because this is going to show, again, what Coach Tracy is about to say, swing path.
But put that camera on your child, your son, whatever that's at bat, and so that we get so just put a couple swings of his swing in the bat. Because what we're looking for, we're not looking for where does the ball go and all that stuff. What we're looking at is what's the path of his bat. So you can get a clear vision of that from back here. We don't need a 60 time. Like we can get a legitimate running time in a game if you strategically place your camera. I cannot tell you how many videos I get where I'll be sent and someone will hit it and they cut the tape off when the batter takes 2 or 3 steps out. Here's how we can get a legitimate running time. So if we're full view, so we can see the batter contact the baseball and run through first base. Ideally, we want to see them run through first base on a ground ball where they're really digging. We can kind of get on a turn is fine, but ideally, if you have a clip where you have the whole thing of the contact.
Yeah, so absolutely. So this is like basically the college coach in the bleachers with a stopwatch. Whenever they see a clip just like this, they're able to start their stopwatch and end it when they hit the first base. So this is just a very easy way of coaches to get home to first times, and it will show your signs of athleticism. Obviously, a 60-yard dash is still prevalent in perfect game showcases, camps, things like that. It is an important gauge or a metric to see your overall athleticism. I don't personally believe that it's the most important thing, but I also teach my students like 5-10-5s to increase their overall athleticism. It's a little bit more of a football drill, honestly, but this is exactly what I did in high school to further my journey and get my athleticism to where it needs to be. And real quick, if you are interested in working one-on-one with me inside my Mendoza Baseball Academy, it is 100% remote. Go down below in the description to apply to work one-on-one with me. My triple play is what I focus on with all my students, with the physical development, the mental development, and the recruiting guidance. So again, if that's something that interests you, go down below in the description to apply.
Back to the ball, running through first base, your kid's running hard, we can get that time. So the last thing I want to talk about in that, putting that video together for your child, or they can put it together themselves, however you want to do it, is pregame infield. So we can get the defense stuff from watching video as well. But if we want to see arm strength, you got to be back to this distance right here, probably, as far back as you can get, but to where we can see them field the ball and then throw across the diamond so we can actually see, does the ball do this or does it do this? And the only way to do that is to get the camera position back. And honestly, don't make it more than a minute or so long. If you edit it out, send a few of those clips, and that will be plenty enough. And you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to do that. You can do it for free.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree anymore. Yes, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on a recruiting production to create a 30-second or a 60-second clip of your skills. That's a waste of money. Obviously, you can do it with an iPhone, and that is plenty. Obviously, knowing the angles, knowing which clips to include first. One thing that I see with a lot of my students is I actually revise their highlight videos and tell them to switch the orders a lot of the times, or even cut out a certain clip because it doesn't showcase their best athletic moments. For example, there was one recently with one of my students where it was a comebacker for a pitcher and he fielded it. It looked like he wanted to go to first base, but then the catcher kept, yelling 4-4-4, and then he redirected. So it kind of just showed that he wasn't really thinking about what that next play should look like. And it kind of looked like the game was too fast for him, right? We never want to include clips that make us look bad for these college coaches. So I just told him, hey, this clip probably is just best to be left out. And ultimately, we also reduced that time, showcased a little bit better athletic abilities in that clip. Now let's talk about some common mistakes that high school baseball players make on why college coaches skip their videos. First and foremost, too much of a fancy edit, too loud or obnoxious of a highlight music in the background, maybe rap music or whatever the case may be. This is not you're not trying to impress the college coach with a cool edit, right? Ideally, what they need are the bare fundamentals taken care of in this clip, and this is where an expert eye definitely helps. So if you have too slow of an intro, ultimately a 30-second video should be 30 seconds, action-packed, bang, bang, bang. It doesn't have to be 10 seconds of dead time in the beginning of the video to start things up. This is where coaches will lose interest and click out of your video before they even get a chance to see. So low quality clips, guys, and this is probably one of the hardest areas because if you have an iPhone, you really do have a high quality camera in your pocket at all times. If you're recording at 4K, that's definitely going to be the best because that way in post-production we can zoom in on the action and it's not going to be as pixelated. It's not going to look like you recorded it with a microwave. Last but probably most importantly is you're not sending these highlight videos with a personalized message. If you're just simply blasting it out to anybody that you can get your hands on as far as a college coach, this isn't going to show that you're putting that little bit of effort and you're focused on these tiny little details. Guys, at the end of the day, I played 7 years of professional baseball, 3 years at the D1 level. I took care of those tiny little details because a lot of high school baseball players don't take care of those tiny little details. And speaking from experience, a lot of college baseball players even don't take care of those tiny little details, and that's what got me to that professional level. All right, next up, how to actually send these videos to these college coaches. So the most important and the easiest and free way is just to simply email it to them. But before we email it, we can't just include a video file which is big, chunky, clumpy in an email because that's gonna reduce deliverability, reduce click-through rate, and we're not gonna be able to track views and things like that. So this is where we wanna use a very trusted online database for video. Some of you guys may have heard it. It's called YouTube. It's probably the platform you're watching this video on right now. And the reason that you're watching this video right now is probably because you trust YouTube. Obviously, it's a very user-friendly experience, and you know what the play bar looks like. You can speed up clips on 1.5 speed or 2x speed, right? You can technically do closed captions. There's obviously a sidebar. You can create a database of other recruiting videos. So again, guys, YouTube is a trusted database that these college coaches like watching videos on. So this is where we want to upload it beforehand. Then we want to copy that URL in our email template. And if you are looking for an email template on how to include all this information, I actually have a free email template on my website, MendozABaseballAcademy.com. If you can't find the email template, working together probably isn't going to be a good fit. There's a section that says free content, and under that free content, you'll see the free email template. Ultimately, guys, a great highlight video can really open the doors for your journey, but if and only it's delivered in the right way. If you are serious about getting this part right, you take care of these tiny little details. Once again, if you're interested in working one-on-one with me inside my Mendoza Baseball Academy, all you have to do is simply click the link down below in the description to apply to work one-on-one with me. That way we're able to create a strategy of working together as far as a game plan of how to get noticed, develop your skills, and reach out to these college coaches all through my triple play system. After you apply, just a quick heads up, I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and book a call to see if we're even a good fit, considering I have no idea who you are, who your son is, and if I can even help. So again, if you're interested in working one-on-one with me, go down below in the description to apply.